We might think of earthquakes as a devastating phenomenon, but recent scientific theories suggest that plate tectonics and earthquakes might be fundamental to life and to evolution. Do earthquakes happen in other planets? What can these tell us about Earth and climate change? To learn more about the link between plate tectonics and life, we visited Jet Propulsion Lab.
We're in the Mission Control Center here at JPL. This is where we monitor all our critical events for spacecraft. And I study the tectonics of Mars and Venus. And in particular, right now, I'm working on the InSight mission. We believe that plate tectonics provides some of the nutrients that helps drive life through erosion of continents. We think that plate tectonics may be important for creating a magnetic field, and that shields the planet from incoming radiation. It helps maintain the atmosphere, and it helps regulate our climate over the long term by letting things like water and carbon dioxide out of the inside of the planet, and also cycling them back into the interior through subduction. There's this really interesting idea that because plate tectonics creates all these different environments, mountains, deserts, swamps, through the changing the topography, that may help drive evolution, cause species to have to adapt to different environments over time, and plate tectonics helps change those environments with time. So, especially it may have helped more complex life evolve. We think that plate tectonics has been very instrumental in maintaining Earth as a habitable place.
And that is a difference between Earth and other planets where we see life and we don't.
What we think is that plate tectonics has helped make Earth a stable habitat for billions of years. We haven't seen that elsewhere in the solar system. It certainly drives erosion. And one of the ways that you get new nutrients into the ocean is via erosion.
The Inland Empire, the San Bernardino Mountains, are they growing or eroding faster?
Right now, San Bernardino Mountains are growing faster than they're eroding. And so they are definitely eroding. Right now, the processes of plate tectonics, the San Andreas Fault nearby, those processes are acting to, create uplift in those mountains, centimeters even, over the course of a year.
Can plate tectonics ever stop here on Earth?
Yes, we think plate tectonics can stop eventually. Billions of years down the road, as the planet cools off, it won't really have enough energy to drive plate tectonics. The convection will be less vigorous, and over time, our plates get thicker and thicker, colder and colder, and stronger.
It's like an old planet,
Yeah, we're kind of a middle-aged planet, which is, perfect for plate tectonics. Right now, I'm working on the InSight mission. Well, InSight was the first mission to launch from California to another planet.
3, 2, 0.
And that happened this year, Cinco de Mayo. And we're excited to see it land on November 26th, the Monday after Thanksgiving. So while you're doing your cyber shopping, you can also tune in and see what's happening with our landing. InSight will be the first mission to focus on studying the interior of Mars. InSight is going to be recording Mars quakes, and we're going to be able to determine how tectonically active is Mars. InSight has a seismometer, a heat flow probe, and something that will measure how Mars wobbles. We're going to try to use that information to determine how big is the core on Mars, how thick is its crust, and that gives us a snapshot of what happened very early in Mars's history.
Okay, and you're going to use the Richter scale on Mars?
Yeah. I mean, it's a little bit scales a little bit differently to a different planet, but effectively we use similar approach to estimating the magnitude of quakes. It's really exciting to be going to Mars with InSight and getting a chance to learn more about the interior planets. As we learn more about plate tectonics on the Earth, as we learn more about the links between what's going on inside a planet, what goes on at the surface, and climate, we realize it's super important to understand not only what's happening on Mars, but how that process happens overall. Venus has this huge greenhouse, and how did that happen? How is that? Is that a result of not having plate tectonics? So really understanding the links between the interior and the long-term habitability and climate of a planet is something I'm really looking forward to with InSight. As we understand more about the possible links between plate tectonics and life, this is something that we're really trying to find when we go look at exoplanets. You know, planets that form in other solar systems, around other stars. Can they support life? What's the probability that these planets have plate tectonics? Because that seems to be an important ingredient for supporting life. Especially in California, a lot of the quakes are directly related to plate tectonics. You know, we had the San Andreas that splits our whole state. Yeah, when we feel those quakes, we know that's evidence of the overall geologic system that shapes the surface of the Earth and has potentially provided a great habitat for us to evolve and sit here and have this conversation.
We know the Earth moves constantly, 40,000 earthquakes a year. It happens on a timescale that could be hard to appreciate for humans. We live surrounded by stunning nature, from islands to oceans to high mountains that capture precipitation and river basins that are fertile with rich land. This is all thanks to plate tectonics. Way leads on to way, and preparing can help us bounce back together. We have the technology that can keep building straight and can even give us precious seconds of warning in case of a major earthquake. We can do this as a nation, as a state, as a county, as a city, as communities, as neighborhoods, and as individuals. It's the total sum that counts, and that can make all the difference. The big one will strike us together, and how it'll affect us depends on how we prepare. Are you ready for the big one?